All right. It's a the first Monday after Halloween, and I got to tell you, I'm excited to do this podcast. We've got Greg Reitz Team EXP, on online here with Corbin Claypool, Nexa Mortgage, our professional mortgage banker, and we're going to fill you in on market facts. We want to do this about every 2 weeks now, every 2 weeks on target, to bring the public in on what's going on in the market, average days on the market, sales price, how many listings are available compared to last year, what are they selling at, below or over asking price, all the important information that buyers, sellers, and investors would want from the real estate side, and similar information from Corbin Claypool from Nexa Mortgage, interest rates, loan types, what do we expect the market to do, what do we think is going to happen in the next 3 to 12 months for buyers and sellers, investors, thinking if it's time or not.
Absolutely.
All of this, how everything's going to affect the market. So we're going to give you our professional analysis of all this, and this comes with a lot of research, a lot of professional economists with EXP Mortgage, with EXP Realty and Nexa Mortgage researching all this. So we've got all these trends for you to give you real, honest facts. So we're glad you're on the show today, Corbin, and the public. So Corbin Claypool from Nexa Mortgage.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me on, Greg.
I'm glad to have you
be on again. It's always good. It's always good when you have me on your podcast.
Yeah, we get pumped to help the public, don't we? I love it. Hey, so I want to share a little bit. Well, first of all, why don't you share what's going on in the mortgage world? How the rates looking out there? I'm hearing pretty good things on interest rates and things. Corbin, how are we looking on those interest rates?
Yeah, so with all the stuff. With the election, typically around election time, the rates can change, whether it's for the good or for the worse. Right now, we're actually seeing them better than they were 2 weeks ago. So if you're thinking about refinancing or purchasing, it's a great time to lock in that rate and take advantage of that, because we don't really know. Go ahead, Greg.
No, go ahead.
We don't really know too much about what exactly is going to happen after the election. But typically, the market can shift a little bit after, a big occurrence in our nation. So that's something to keep an eye out. I'm going over all of our loans with my loan officer tomorrow, and we're probably going to be locking a good portion of them. Any that can be locked in, we're going to lock them in because we just want to be safe and make sure that the clients don't have a rate spike or something like that.
So, absolutely. That makes sense. So the rates are looking darn good, huh?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. We're in the mid twos in some cases. It's absolutely unreal.
Mid twos?
Mid twos.
Oh, I got a refi.
Yeah.
I knew they were low, but that's incredible. So,
yeah. So we're even seeing 15 years below 2 now, which we did see that before, but we're seeing it with not as many points. So now, you can get a 15-year at 1.9.
Rates can vary, right, Corbin, on loan score, FICO score in some cases, et cetera.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's different programs.
Give me your best score that you can, your best score for that A+ buyer, because we have to go with something. And I'm going to ask you a few different loan types so the public can get what you feel is your best rate right now as we speak. Now, they subject to change daily a little bit, but what's your best VA, you think?
So I'll give you a ballpark number that I think, because I don't have the pricing in front of me and I don't want to quote something that I am not looking at, right? But
yeah, right.
I would say that a VA loan, if you have fantastic credit right now, you should be probably in the low 2s. 2.25, 2.375. Now you have me curious, because the rates got better. I haven't priced out one. I want to see where they're at now, because I'm almost wondering if they're below 2. Which I don't know that for sure, but that would be,
yeah. How are we looking in on FHA, Corp?
Yeah, so government loans, VA and FHA, are typically going to be better rates than conventional loans.
Okay.
So the FHA and VA are going to be low 2s. So FHA as well, low 2s, depending on the credit. If the credit's a little bit on the lower side, then you're probably going to be mid to high 2s, possibly in the 3s if your credit's pretty low.
Okay. So, and then conventional, a standard conventional mortgage.
I'd say 2.75 right now. That's at par pricing. You're not really paying any points. If you are paying points, it's maybe 0.2 of a point or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then you've got, so those are the basic loan types there. And you've got you've got one or two, maybe what the public likes to call first-time home buyer programs, right? Or USDA loan or Cal HFA. What are we looking at on those with the super low down deals?
Yes, I mean we actually don't have CalHFA right now, but there are lenders out there that do have CalHFA. So you can always reach out to us, and we can get you connected with a lender that can do the CalHFAs. But we do have AFR DPA Advantage, and that one gives you 3.5% down, covers your down payment, and it's a pretty nice product because a lot of the down payment assistance products. The thing with them, there's always a caveat a little bit, right? So
sure there is.
You either have to pay it back, or they're going to get more fees, or they're going to get a little bit of a higher rate. The AFR product does have a little bit of a higher interest rate. By a little bit, I mean it's pretty significant higher interest rate. However, they don't have to pay it back, and there's no additional origination charges on it, which that's very typical among all down payment assistance. That's why I like it, because they can get the loan, they can stay in it for 7 to 8 payments. And then they can refinance out of that higher rate and do an FHA streamlined loan and refinance themselves down into a lower rate.
And then on the USDA, you offer the United States Department of Agriculture.
Yeah. Certain areas, of course, can do 0% down, no MI. They're great products. Qualifying ratios are a little bit different on those. They're a little more strict, but they're good products.
Yeah, no money down. They got to be a little stricter on the credit score, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. You've done some of these for us, so we love it, man. So you got all the loan programs out there basically under your loan. And now you're a broker, so you can shop 20 or 30 different lender banks to get the best rate and product for the client. Is that right?
Yeah, and perfect example is one of our lenders right now. They do a fantastic job. They're amazing. I love them. They're just giving us a little trouble on self-employed borrowers. They're just being a little too tough on them, asking for maybe a little bit too much stuff. So, and that's kind of typical of self-employed borrowers. So what we're doing though is we just did a pivot and we said, okay, sorry, lender, we're not giving you any more self-employed borrowers now because you're crushing us on them.
You send them over to like we just did to another lender, and that makes it all day long, twice.
Exactly. Somebody who will do the loan without all the overlays and conditions that they're asking for. Absolutely.
So yeah, the end of the deal is make it easy as possible. Great rate for the client, great service, and close the transaction for the seller and the buyer for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
so man, kind of tell me though, because I'm noticing on my side when offers are coming in and I'm getting an accepted offer, I see that the property was listed at 300 and we're in contract at like 310. Are you seeing a lot of that right now? Are you seeing where the contracts are coming in a little bit higher than the asking prices? And if so, why? Why is that?
At the Reitz team, we do a lot, EXP, we do a lot of sales volume. So about 67 to 70%, depending on the month that we're watching our trends, our listings closing, right? So doing more listings, we market trends and what's going on. And right now, the market right now is, and I've got all the sheets in front of me because I keep up on these numbers. I want to be the best we can for the public. They're actually getting, I'm going to put these glasses on here, on the, average price in thousands. Okay, we're getting, here it is. So the days on the market was 48 days in September of 2019. And for September of 2020, we're at 32 days on the market. Now that includes, custom homes at $2 million, ranches for $5 million, bigger properties, and including land lots and houses, everything involved in that. Houses are typically selling in 5 to 15 days, but on an average, including lots, development land, ranches, commercial, multifamily, et cetera, 32 days on the market. That's very, very low. That's more of a seller's market. That's a great market, very strong market. And they're selling. So the question is, are they selling above asking? On an average, with all of those different types, not just housing, but agricultural property, commercial property, and housing, residential, they're selling at an average of 1% above asking. Homes above asking are going at about 101 to 103%. So they are going over asking, not every time, but in many times. So they're getting on average over 100% of asking when they list a property.
And is there a specific house that goes over asking that you're seeing? Are we talking if it has a pool, it's going to go over asking? If it has, a square footage above 1,600, 2,000 or something like that, it goes over asking, or just whatever.
It depends on how well the agent is marketing the property. Not all agents are the same. Okay. We do a heavy amount of marketing. We spend lots and lots of time and money on our extra marketing, not just putting it on the MLS as most agents and brokers do. So we get a lot more activity on our listings, right? That being said, we can sell for more. We sell for almost 2% more than the average agent does. So if we take an average though on that, and you wanted to know what can we expect? How much can they expect to go over? What's it depend on? It depends on marketing. It depends on if the seller's overpricing the property. Because let's say an area is 300,000 and a seller says, well, I want 320, and everything's selling at 290 to 300, and he prices at 320, it still may not sell at 320 because the buyers know by looking on Zillow, talking to their agent, looking at all that information that it's overpriced. So it'll probably sell for 305 to 310, right? Because that's the highest price sold, let's say, in the area. So it depends on quality, how the home looks, where the seller prices it, and how the agent and broker list that property, how they market that property, and are they actively looking for buyers on that listing. So there's a lot of things that go into that. But on an average, we could say they're going 1 to 3% over asking price.
Got it. Yeah, that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's an incredible market to sell, but I don't think buyers should be scared of that at all because the interest rates are so low. So
yeah, the interest rates are so low, and that brings us, to the next thing. I'd like to go over some important things that right now, going back 1 year, here's the market trends, public. I'm going to give you some market trends. Very important. You might want to write this down. So active listings from 2019. So I'm going September to September from 2019. We have 1,260 active listings. Okay, 1,260 in 2020. We have 1,260, and we have 1,220 that have sold. You heard me right. And that same, we put 1,220 listings up on the active market and 1,220 sold. So almost for every listing, they're getting a sell, right? 1,220 versus 1,260. All right. In 2019, we had 2,662 active listings. 1,260 in 2020 active listings, and 2019 was 2,660. So less than half the inventory in 1 year. So that means there's not enough supply. There's less than half the supply from a year ago and more buyers. So they're getting sold up as quick as they buy. As quick as they list, they're getting sold. Okay. That's why we have 1,260 active listings, yet 1,220 have sold. Last year, at the same time in September, was 2,662 active listings with the 995 sold. So half of them, less than half were selling, or almost 100% of them are selling now. So it's a great market to buy in. And a big part of that, wouldn't you think that's because of the interest rates and what's going on, right, Corbin?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The buying power is significantly more. And we've talked about that before, but the buying power right now with the lower rates is way more. We've been given, I like to put it this way, we've been given a gift. Okay, these interest rates are not going to be here forever. We have been given a gift for the time being to take advantage of it. And so, I could see it going back up into the 4s, 3s, and all that kind of stuff when things start getting back to normal with what we call normal, right? But yeah, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And let me share another stat. You were asking me earlier what's going on with the average sales price. So guys, ladies out there, the average sale price is $347,000. I'm going back 1 year, and all of these stats, it's a 1 year back. Okay. So 2019, the average sale price was $303,000. $303,000 public. Now it's $347,000 a year later. The increase about 14.5% up. Equity build in 1 year. So prices went up over 14% year after year from September 19 to September 20. So the difference is the interest rates are considerably cheaper. So the buyer's still ahead. Great time to buy, great time to sell, right?
Right.
Okay. The The average, the listed price is right around 489 on the average right now, but the average sold price is 347 because that's where most of the properties average is selling at. And before I get into some more stats, Corbin, I want to ask you more about what you expect to happen with, with the rates over the next year. Other stats on the lending side that may be important for people.
Yeah, of course. I wish I had a crystal ball and was able to tell you the exact, but I think that the interest rates are going to stay pretty close to the same for a while longer, unless something crazy happens with the election and then it shoots up. The thing that I think will happen, though, that I'm concerned about is I don't think it's going to be a thing where it gradually ticks up. I think that when these things are gone, they're going to be gone. I think that it's going to go up like that. But I think we have another at least, 6 to 10 months with these rates, I would hope, until the economy, which is recovering already, right? Until the economy recovers fully, I think that then that's when the rates will start kind of, jumping up. But yeah, there's no way to really know exactly where the rates will go because just interest rates are really weird on the mortgage side, guys. It has nothing to do with one thing. There's so many different things that can affect it. I mean, you can turn on the TV and there's some crazy news on the TV, and that news creates, something that makes the interest rates go down, and vice versa. That news can create something that makes the interest rates go up. So there's not one way to tell you if the interest rates are going to go up and down, but we can look at trends and kind of tell you, maybe where we think it's going to go. So my professional opinion is I think we'll stay with these interest rates for another 6 to 8 months, hopefully, and we'll have it into the mid of next year. So that's my hope.
Oh, I agree. And
one thing I want to say, that's very dependent on the election, though. Very dependent on the election because, if the election causes it to go up, they may just stay up.
It could depend on who's in power for sure. Because the two presidents that are vying for president have two different ways of thinking. So who gets in there could change the housing market, the residential and mortgage, for sure. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing is we talked about days on the market being 32. What I'd like to share here now is inventory. So we like to look at it year from year. So September of 19 to September 20. And guys, the reason I go back to September, it takes 30 days or so for all these numbers to get into the computer to give us accurate information that we can share with you accurate information. Okay. But I'll tell you this, I have information that I watch on our systems. So updating right now, just over the last 30 days, the buyer activity is still very strong. More listings are hitting the market. There's more listings coming on the market. So the buyers, great news for the buyers. There's more active listings. The buyers are probably realizing that by looking on Zillow, what the agents and brokers are sending their clients, right? The buyers, they're seeing more. All my buyers, hey, there's more coming on the market. There really is. They're getting sold still, but there's more sellers moving forward to sell their property now. So it's good for the buyers. They have more choices. Thank God for that. The inventory right now is 1.3 months. What that means is it was 2.6 months in September of 19. In layman's terms, here's what that means. With all the listings that are out there, 1,260 listings active right now, about today, if we didn't list another property, our inventory would run out in September of 2019 in 2.6 months. Okay, fast forward now to September 2020. Okay, about a month, just over a month ago, we had 1.3 months of standing inventory. We didn't list another property, it would be sold out in 1.3 months. That's only like 40 days. That's a super fast moving economy in real estate listings and buyers. So that's a great market. It's working good for sellers and buyers because sellers are getting the price they like and buyers are getting the interest rates they like. So they're both winning right now, right, Corbin?
Yep.
Oh, they are. So that the inventory, there's not very much inventory. There is getting more availability though for the buyers, and I'm sure they're seeing that online. The ones that are actively looking, getting listings from their agent. We've got one more stat here. Average price per square foot. Okay, going back to 2019, that means for every square foot in a house, because you look at a house, so it's 2,000 square feet. One of the first things that the buyers that understand market and what their agents, that their agents are training them correctly, coaching them and showing them real numbers, or they're savvy buyers, how much is the price per square foot? It's an important question that a buyer should know. A year ago, September of 2019, it was about 168 a square foot. 167, 168 a square foot, $160 a square foot. Now it's 185 a square foot, 185 a square foot. So that's that increase we were talking about earlier in price year after year. So that's about a 14% increase. So it's a pretty large increase year after year, but the interest rate is still making it better for the buyers.
Yeah.
And these are great stats to know. So I like to give all those market stats so buyers are aware of it. It's still a very strong market this time of year. It more listings hit the market. The buyers are out, the sellers are out, and it's an extremely strong market for both buyers and sellers.
Mm-hmm.
What else would you like to share, Corbin? How do you see the volatility in loans right now? Are the banks, with what's going on with the virus and the election, things like that could affect it? How may that be affecting the mortgage side of things?
Yeah, so great question. Things are moving pretty good now, especially overall, like industry wide. I think maybe the volume has decreased a little bit. So I'm noticing that the underwriters aren't as busy. I'm seeing faster turn times. The loans are coming out of underwriting a lot faster. The only borrowers that are left that are a little tougher to help right now are self-employed borrowers. But we made that pivot. We're going somewhere else with our self-employed borrowers to help them out. Besides that, it really feels like everything's pretty much getting back to normal. I mean, there's now all the non-QM products. You can do bank statement loans. You can do debt service coverage ratio loans. I mean, there's a million loans that you can do now that we couldn't do right when COVID hit. So overall, things are kind of loosening up. There's just a couple little spots that are still a little tough. But, things are closing in under 30 days pretty easily now, which, on some of these loans, things are going a little bit higher. So, yeah.
Do you feel that those lending trends will continue in a positive fashion throughout the rest of the year?
Absolutely, yeah. I think things, as this whole COVID scare, things kind of get less and less locked down, and the economy begins to open back up. I think we're going to return to a normal lending world. Thank goodness, because I think everybody was pretty overwhelmed and tired of it for a little bit there. But now things are getting smoother and we're in a positive direction. So,
the biggest part of our podcast together, Corbin, and for me is to educate the public. So for the mortgage lending side, and I want you to ask me the same question when I'm done, because I want to share some facts from the real estate side, listings, buyers, and investors. What should a lender, what do you think is best practice, or what should buyers be looking for in a lender that lender should be sharing with them, so the buyer client with that mortgage broker, lender, loan officer knows they're getting treated fairly and correctly, and what should they watch out for their best advantage?
Great question. Okay. I think the first thing is working with a lender that's straightforward. You really should not be questioning your loan or your estimates when you go into escrow. I mean, you're going to have questions on the initial disclosures, and sometimes things can be a little bit higher just because things get padded typically and things like that. But I'm talking about when you're pre-approved. When you are pre-approved, you should have a loan estimate and that day's interest rate quoted for you. There's a lot of lenders that I've noticed that don't provide loan estimates, and it's crazy to me how they don't provide a loan estimate, but that's just kind of the practice, I guess. So make sure that you have a loan estimate. The moment we pre-approve a buyer, they're going to get an email with, the do nots in an escrow. They're going to get the pre-approval. They're going to get their loan scenario, and they're going to get the loan estimate. And my loan officer is going to discuss that loan estimate with them. Then once we go into escrow, which we just added this, we're always trying to better the business. From now on, my loan officer is going to call that client before the initial disclosures get sent to them, and he's going to go over all of the loan estimate that we sent to them originally, just to ensure that they know that we're all on the same page. This is what your estimate. This is your rough closing costs. this is your rough monthly payment. So I think that's really key, is make sure the buyer gets a loan estimate, make sure he knows his monthly payment, he or she knows their monthly payment. They know where they want to qualify. They know, what the maximum monthly payment is. All those questions should be answered. And then, then A to Z service and somebody local for sure. We'd love to service you, but if you work with somebody else that's local, it's going to be better off than working with somebody that's online. Okay, so a lot of online lenders, one, it's harder to get your offer accepted. Okay, no listing agent that I know of wants to work with an online lender. Online lenders, there are some good ones. There are some, like, it's hard to explain. There's like some local online lenders, right? Like a mortgage broker who has some realtor connections here in town, and that realtor trusts that mortgage broker, but it's somebody like me that's just working in their house somewhere in another state somewhere, but they do a really good job. That's not the online lenders I'm talking about.
You might be careful with online lenders that are out of state.
Yeah.
Loans or fastloans.com or something like that.
Yeah, that's the bigger thing.
They don't have the relationship with the client here in Clovis, Madera area of Central Valley of California, so the lender has nothing to lose.
Right, exactly. If something goes wrong, the lender can just disappear on you. The big corporate companies, some of them have done a good job for people, I'm sure, but a lot of those lenders can steer people in the wrong direction. I've gotten a loan estimate before with one of them, and they're like, I'm getting this amazing rate. I was like, okay, cool. Let me see your loan estimate. Let's see if we can match it.
Yeah.
And your loan estimate has like 3 points on it or 4 points, and they're paying like 10 grand just to get the interest rate. So those are things that you really want to pay attention to.
We did an opportunity like that. Came through. I think it was one of the online lenders, and I don't trust them. I said, well, I told the buyer and the buyer's agent. I said, hey, not that I don't trust the online lender, but I just got to cross qualify through my lender, Corbin, right? So Corbin gets the loan, cross checks it, and we get the opportunity to serve them because they were charging too much in fees and interest rate. So don't trust everything, guys. You can always have it. You can have a cross qualified through a local lender like Corbin or another one. So that's a way to protect yourself. I like what you said, Corbin. Transparency. Here's what your approximate payment's going to be. Here's your interest rates. Here's your cash to close the deal you got to come in with. Here you go. This is the best loan for you. And then go over the different loan types so you know what's best for them. That was good information for the public right there.
Yeah, that's key. I think, unfortunately, not enough people do that. So,
well, ask me a similar question on real estate side, but what should clients, buyers, and sellers be looking for in a real estate agent, right? So that really.
Yeah, I mean, what should a client be looking for in a real estate agent?
That's a great question.
And I think that we could break that in two different sections. What should a client be looking for in a listing agent, and what should a client be looking for in a buying agent?
Great questions. I'm going to answer that right now. Okay, so let's start with the listing agent. What's a seller looking for when he lists a property, Corbin? The highest price, and the best terms and price, right? And also a fluid, great service, no stress transaction, right? But price and service at the end of the day. A seller wants to know, how much are you going to get me and how you going to do it? There you go. How much you going to get me and how you going to get it done. Pretty simple. So an agent, a seller wants to be looking for a listing agent that has a really good marketing plan, multiple points to list and sell that property. We have a listing plan of action that's many, many points deep. I won't share it online here, but it's got a lot of great points that they want to know. What's the exposure my property is going to get, and what does that listing agent do to expose that property to the market? Okay, we're all out there on the market, so our sellers love us with that great exposure they get, right? So they get to see what we're going to do for them. They see how we get a couple points more on average on a sell of their home versus the competition. We verify that with them, show them that, and then they get the great service. So they're looking for the top price, and what a seller wants to know, and what we like to provide is the real comparable sales closed, active competition, and pending. And I give them real numbers. Here's the real number. Here's what I believe it's going to sell at. I mean, you're going to be right there. I'm almost Johnny on the spot with those numbers. And so you can expect to get this much, and they need to have those comparables and their agent to be honest with them. And if the seller wants more, the agent should be honest with that seller. Well, here's the truth of where they're selling, here's where they're closing, here's where the appraisal is probably going to be. So here's what we can get. We could try for a little more if that's what you like. I just want to be honest with you. That's why you hired me, to be honest, right? So honesty and transparency in the numbers. Next thing is give them a net sheet, a real approximate closing net sheet, a seller net sheet, I call it. So it has the price it's going to sell at, any mortgage or liens on the property, right? Mm-hmm. The cost to sell the property, the final net, seller's net, all broken down and itemized. Our net sheets are broken down and itemized. So the seller right at the listing presentation gets to see everything. And I go, that's how much right there you're going to put in your pocket. Oh, great. And then we tailor make the listing price. That works for everybody. The seller stays in control. They pick the price, we get it listed. So just to go over that again, marketing plan, exposure, and seller net sheet. And great service. That's what, and transparency with honesty. That's what a seller and should look for in a listing agent, right?
Love it.
Somebody that does a lot of listings. You want to look for a listing agent and team broker like ourselves that does a lot of listings, that does dozens and dozens per year. See, most agents only sell 3 to 6 homes a year, Corbin. 3 to 6 a year. We're pushing that out every couple of weeks. So and 2 out of 3 of those are going to be listings. So you want to have some experience and verified closings on listings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, put it this way. You got heart trouble, let's say. Do you want to go to a doctor that just got out of college and hasn't really done one heart surgery yet? Or do you want the professional that's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of closed heart surgeries? Which one would you want, Corbin?
Right, you're going to want the one who's done
a
lot of heart surgeries. Absolutely.
Verified experience and everything we just talked about. And then the next question was about the buying side, right? What should a buyer look for in a real estate agent, right?
Right, yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think they should look for? What do you think would be important?
Just kind of a lot of the same stuff. Straightforward, transparent, available, and has their back. I think that's one of the most important things, I think, is having the buyer's back, and not just wanting to close the deal. That drives me nuts. I think that they want somebody who, if something goes wrong with the property or they want something done, that buyer's agent is there to help them get that done.
Yeah, let me share our process, because in our process here, it'll be the easiest way for me to explain it. And everything that they should be looking for is going to be in this Greg Reitz Team Real Estate process, okay? So we talk to the client, lead comes in, referral, whatever it might be, we talk to a buyer. We ask the buyer to come in, we like to meet in person. If they're fearful of a virus or something else, we do it on Zoom or something. So once we meet the client, we explain to them the buying process. Okay? So we meet the client and we go through the buying process. So now we've educated them in the whole process. Most buyers are afraid, even if they've been through real estate transaction once or twice, they still want to be updated on the process, right? Update them on the process. A lot of the fear factor goes away from the buyer then. Right. Then we get them, if they're not pre-approved, in most cases they're not, we get them over to a mortgage lender, right? We like to use Corbin Claypool, Nexa Mortgage, and if they have a relationship with somebody, we can give that. Then they go to the person that they like. Get them pre-approved from the lender. Once they're pre-approved from the lender, in that same buyer, that first initial buyer consultation we find out what area they like, what type of home, square footage, bedrooms, baths, pool, no pool, solar, no solar, all of that in the buyer criteria for their home. Once they get to the lender, we know the pricing that they can afford and what they're comfortable with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, we're out looking at homes. So after we show homes, they find the one they like, they fall in love with it, we make an offer, we get the offer accepted, then we go into escrow and go through that whole transaction process. It's not hard, but it's being educated by your real estate agent or broker on the real estate side to make it fun and easy. And that's so I like to show the buyer, get the criteria they want on a buyer consultation very thoroughly, so we know the area, pricing, size of home that they want, age of home, all of that. Very important to spend time to do that. Meet with them so they know they can feel and trust you and like you. I think that's important also. Showing them, getting the lender breakdown from the lender so they know what they're looking at, and it's all transparent. So there's nothing for them to worry about or fear. Everything's been transparent, right?
No guessing games.
Everybody's on the same page, the lender, the buyer, and the real estate agent. And by doing all that, it makes it for a fun and exciting venture to buy a home, not doing that. So what buyers, when you look at from an agent on a one-on-one, is this: the agent should be available. Well, we get real busy too, and we tell them, hey, today I'm booked, but I'm available tonight or I'm available tomorrow, right? Yeah. We got to tell them the truth. Well, I mean, if you got an agent that can always go exactly right now when you call, oh, hold on, they got no business? How come they don't got no appointment set? So your best agents are going to be your busy, verified agents. You get an appointment with your agent, so the agent needs to be available. And if he can't answer, call you back in a very reasonable amount of time, usually 2 hours or less, and get the information that you as a buyer is looking for. Okay. He also needs, he or she agent needs to update that buyer on the area they're looking for, the price they're selling at in that area, the average sold price, and the price per foot. Price per foot and average sold price for that area for similar condition homes. So they know that they're not paying too much. Remember, a good agent's looking for the best price and deal for their buyer. So my goal is to save you, the buyer, thousands of dollars. So I want to know those numbers in that area, and I want to get you the best price, okay, on that home. So they want to have the buyer educated for that area on pricing and what they're looking at so they can get in the best deal. Educate them on date, transaction time. Right now, 35 to 45 days is very normal. Appraisals are taking a little bit longer. So being honest with the buyer, hey, we could try for 30, but 45 days, 30 to 45 is more reasonable because some of the with the appraisals are taking a little bit longer. So we want to be honest with that. And then just to explain to them in the buyer consultation the transaction process. From the time I meet them to the time they get to the lender to get pre-approved, making the offer, getting it accepted, doing the home inspections, right? Getting the appraiser for the appraiser, which is what I do, and a final walkthrough. That's really it. I mean, there's 7 different steps. It's quite fun and easy. And when you have the real numbers and everything's transparent and you're working with an honest agent and an honest lender, like I and Corbin, it just works like magic and people are happy. And that's one of the reasons, if you do that, agents, buyers, sellers, there's a lot of referrals to happen too. So it's in everybody's best interest to be honest with integrity, ethics, and educate your buyers and sellers, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, I think that answered all your questions there, Corbin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Well, anything else you want to share on today's show?
No, I think it was a great show. I think we got some good information out, and look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. So Corbin, Nexa Mortgage right here of Herndon and Fresno Street, his office, his number's 619-708-4476. That's Corbin Mortgage Broker. I got it. You know what? I got to share with the public. He's like, okay, this guy's called the Corbinator, man, because he makes things happen that other people can't. So we call him the Corbinator, like, the Terminator. He makes it happen. So
I love that.
Give him a call. His number's there on the screen. Yeah. Nexa Mortgage in Fresno, and Greg Reitz Real Estate Team, eXp Realty, to learn more about eXp as an agent, new, medium, or high producing that wants to keep more in your pocket, learn better skills to go to a higher level and get the real estate broker that you deserve. Give us a call, and we look forward to helping buyers, sellers, investors out there. 559-260-1777, 559-260-1777, and or gregreitz.com. Guys, have a great day. That's it, Corbin.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
I know there was a lot of information in there. The good thing about this, they can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Get all the information, clients. Look us up. We're here to help you.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, brother. Thank you for having me on. And you guys have a great day.
I got to get it.
All right.
All right. Bye.